word to wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're gonna be talking about Hardware, Season 1, Number 2, by Brandon Thomas and Dennis Cowan. And in this video, I'm gonna explain to you why a character from Milestone's yesteryear, a fan favorite character at that, has made an early debut that is completely different from what it was in the original Hardware series back in 1992. And I'm gonna explain what is going on here with that, as well as why the mission to stop Edwin Alva has become that much more personal for Hardware. We're gonna talk about all that and more right now, but first, if you wanna see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I post multiple videos throughout the week, plus live stream every Saturday, so that way you don't miss anything. Also, if you enjoy the video, I humbly ask that you Hulk smash that like button, because it really helps the channel out. That said, let's talk about Hardware, Season 1, Number 2. Okay, so the first thing that I thought was very interesting about this issue is that, well, for one, yes, Edwin Alva has taken this stance where he originally tried to damn Curtis Metcalf as being this evil, vile figure, distancing his own company, Alva Industries, from Curtis and kind of pinning the whole Big Bang and the quantum juice that was in the tear gas that caused all the, bang babies and killed so many people and caused so many people to get superpowers and all this other stuff. Now he's taking this stance where he's trying to pretend that he's on Curtis's side and that Curtis is just a victim of circumstance, trying to basically clean up his position to, in a way, make Curtis out to be the good guy, all the while making a martyr out of him because he is still planning to kill him. That's not really the main course of this story for me, though. The real deal here for me is the fact that in this particular version of Milestone, this rebooted universe, we get introduced to a character from Milestone's yesteryear, a character by the name of Tiffany Evans, who some of you may know as a fan favorite character by the name of Technique. Now, the Technique that is being presented here, who has yet to don a suit of armor herself, she is still just Tiffany Evans. This character is presented to us in a much different light than what she was originally presented. I'm not going to give you all the details in this because I literally did an entire video breaking down who Tiffany Evans was about a year or so ago, and if you want to go check that out, I'll try to remember to link that somewhere here in the cards or in the description below or something if I can remember. I'm getting old, so sometimes that doesn't happen. But I will definitely say that Tiffany Evans originally in the comics was a professional rival of Curtis Metcalf. They didn't really have a romantic relationship or anything. They were barely even friends. Their rivalry was kind of antagonistic, and even to the point where Tiffany, not knowing that Curtis was actually Hardware, she reverse engineered Hardware's suit of armor because it was all stuff that came from Alva Industries. She created her own suit and turned into the character Technique, and she was using that suit to bring down Hardware because at the time she believed that Hardware was actually a bad person and that Edwin Alva was a saint, a paragon of virtue as far as she knew. She would later clean all this up and become a good guy. In this version of Hardware, it's actually been flipped around. She is not someone who believes Edwin Alva's a good guy. She's actually one of the few people that Curtis can trust who knows Edwin Alva is full of shit. She knows that he's lying through his teeth, and she knows that he knows that she knows that he ain't shit. And more important than that is the fact that in this particular version of Hardware, the character of Baraki Young is not the love interest, or at least not the current love interest of Curtis Metcalf, because it is very heavily pointed out that Curtis and Tiffany are romantically linked in this new rebooted universe. Now, what does that make of Baraki? Well, Baraki is still around. She is still a character in this world. The difference being is that her and Curtis are no longer together. The reasoning behind that is never explicitly stated. However, we do know that Curtis and Baraki still trust and love one another because when everything starts turning to shit for Curtis, he goes to her to try and get help. And when Tiffany gets caught in the crosshairs of Edwin Alva, because once again, Edwin is onto the fact that Tiffany is aware that he's lying, Curtis is the one who goes to Baraki asking her for her help in helping him protect Tiffany. Now, the reason why things have gone from sugar to shit for Hardware in this comic is because the war against Edwin Alva just became incredibly personal. When he's talking with Baraki, he talks about the fact that he thought that it was just going to be him versus Edwin Alva, that there wasn't going to be this back and forth, that other people, innocent people, mind you, would get involved in that. And that's exactly what happens in this issue, that when the police are trying to take down Hardware, they cause him to crash into a car that winds up veering into a brick wall. And inside that car are a father and son, a son who we see earlier in this comic who admires Hardware and thinks he's the greatest thing ever, that he wants to be like Hardware. And he thinks that he's literally like this awesome, amazing superhero in a world where people are trying to paint Hardware out to be some kind of a terrorist. And this kid's life is on the line. The fact that the police were willing to kill Hardware rather than allow Hardware to save this child's life is very telling, but they do eventually relent and let him get the boy to safety. Now, we don't know what the boy's fate is, but it is highly implied that he could very well potentially die. And that is what has made this a personal mission for Hardware. He now realizes the stakes, that anyone who's connected to him is going to end up getting hurt or killed. Tiffany is in the crosshairs. That young boy was in the crosshairs. And not only that, but now just the fact that Baraki is getting involved in this as well, potentially by trying to help Tiffany, she's in the crosshairs. This has become incredibly personal. And it's not like Edwin Alva doesn't know who Curtis really is. He helped raise Curtis and he made him almost just about everything that he is today. Curtis is no longer playing around anymore, and he's taking the fight directly to Alva. He's no longer worried about trying to expose Alva's secrets. It looks like now he's just gonna straight up go to exactly where he is and kill him. Or maybe he won't. That said, I apologize for this video being late. This issue technically came out last week, but there's been so much stuff going on, and there's a couple of other comics that I wanted to cover too that I just didn't get to. Like I said, it's been a hella busy week, and there's so much stuff happening. But I also want to say I am so happy to find out about the news that we got about Milestone Media at DC Fandom. So of course we know we're getting the Static movie, the live action movie, which technically we already knew, but it was just more information given about that, even though technically that information was something we kind of knew as well, but it's good to know these things are still happening. Also, we learned that we're going to be getting a Milestone Media animated movie that will likely star all of the principal characters we've seen so far in the Milestone Returns relaunch. Characters like Icon and Rocket, Hardware, who we just now got done talking about, as well as the GOAT, Static, and we'll probably see even more characters. Who really knows there? We're going to get so much more awesome stuff involved in all this. Also, I do want to point out the Milestone Initiative, another amazing thing that Milestone is doing, giving Black and Brown and other POC writers, artists, editors, colorists, letterers chances and opportunities to get into the comics industry in an era where, you know, it seems like we would be at an all-time high, and we technically are, but that all-time high is a very, very, very low single-digit percentage. That said, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share it all over the internet with all your friends so that they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to the Milestone Media series, Hardware. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Hardware Season 1, Number 2. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.